All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the second example on the back. Hopefully you kind of got through the last one. You're going to see Pythagorean theorem. You're going to see trig. We imply, we expect that you've come to a point where you've mastered those, and throughout the end of the year, you're going to keep using those concepts. So, give you a second to get your drawing labeled. I drew the diameter in for you, and of course, I'm not going to tell you that's a diameter, other than the fact that I keep yapping over here. This point C tells you that it's a diameter. And sometimes in a problem, they might say, hey, look at circle C, and they might have a symbol with a circle, and they say it's C. It's implied you understand that's a center point. And that's a diameter, and therefore you've got 180 degrees here, 180 here. The other thing I'm going to add on here, there should be a right angle here. I think I'm going to be nice to you this time and put it on there. I forgot to do it last time. The distance from R to that intersection is 10, and it's also 10 on the other side. From center to this intersection is 10. So I got 4 things I want you to try to find on this one. The last 2 are arcs. You can put your little arcs on here. These are both degree measures. Looking for degree measures. It's a great time to pause and attack this. This is a lot like the last problem. This is the type of problem, and I'm putting 2 of these on here because this is what I want you to be able to do. I'm being very direct and very straightforward here. Not easy problems, but because they're multi-step, but that's my expectation. This is the level of expectation, so go for it. Again, pause it if you need to. RQ, of course, is the diameter, which I think that's the easy one. That's, of course, 40, because RC is 20. So you're saying if this is 20, well, the whole thing's 40. Done. Double the radius. ZW is the one that's, this entire chord. If you don't know how to draw that hypotenuse on there, you're going to have trouble. And I just called the hypotenuse, but technically it's a radius. It's just this radius just spun down here. So CW is a radius. So CW is 20 because RC is a radius and RC was 20. And I'm hoping that just by saying those 2 numbers, 20 and 10, you kind of get somewhere here. You could do Pythagorean theorem to find this one again. You don't have to. I'm hoping you go, wait a minute, that's 10 and this is 20. That's a very interesting ratio, a 1-to-2 ratio. Think about your special triangles. And there is a special triangle that has a 1-to-2 ratio where the leg is half of the hypotenuse. And hopefully, oh, duh, it's a 30, 60, 90. Now, if you don't do that, you can certainly go through this using Pythagorean theorem. I think you get 17.32. And that's for this little segment here, for half of ZW, essentially. And if I want to find ZW, I double that. The other way to do this is using ratios. If this is 10 and this is 20, this, of course, would be 10 rad 3, which would also equal 17.32. And if this is 10 rad 3, and this is 20 rad 3. And in terms of decimals, it's the same concept. You just double the 17.32, and you get 34.6. The last 2 on here would be trig type of problems, or if you know your ratios, you could just use the 30, 60, 90 ratios from that. If you're doing it with trig, I would recommend a cosine ratio. So the cosine of angle C, and by angle C I mean this acute angle of the right triangle. Cosine of C is your adjacent over your hypotenuse. Think about which ones are your adjacent and your hypotenuse. That's 10 over 20. 10 is adjacent, hypotenuse is 20. In other words, what's the cosine inverse of 1/2 of 0.5? And of course, those special triangle ratios come up. It's a 60-degree angle. So we still haven't gotten to arcs, but we got to a central angle. If that's 60, WR has got to be 60. And if this is 60, you know that this whole thing here would be 120. You know that if this is 60, you can find that piece. Because that's a diameter, you know that this whole thing's 180. If that's 60, that leaves 120 here. You know that if this is 120, this is also 120 because this diameter is cutting the circle in half. So 60, 60, and 120 and 120. There's your last value. ZQ is 120. That's a tricky, many levels of understanding in that problem. So hopefully you're getting the hang of it. You're going to see a couple of those on the homework, a couple on the quizzes coming up, or tests coming up. All right, last but not least, the last one on here. You're going to love this thing. So the first given is that you've got YO and AC are congruent. So you're going to have to sketch those on your paper. That might take a minute. Yo is a chord. AC is a chord. There is enough information up there for you to solve this thing. Great time to pause. I want you to find the measure of OY and the measure of AY, and these are both in degrees. Not arc lengths, find the measure of these in degrees. So are they 50 degrees, are they 20 degrees? Make sure you add those little symbols on there, because you're not really getting this thing. If you're not adding the symbols on there, you're not really getting this correct on your conceptually. Great time to pause and go work on it. I would strongly recommend you try this on your own. If you don't, hopefully you go, well, duh, if these two chords are equal, then these two arcs are equal. And I don't even know why that's there. Freaking teacher just put that there to mess us up. Jerk. These two have got to be equal. So you set those two equal and you solve that equation. And you ignore this garbage down here for right now. Now somebody else might say, well, I'm going to use that. I'm going to say these add up to 360. Oh, but you don't know this little one up top. If you knew the little one up top, you could say they add up to 360, but you don't have that one. So the teacher, again, being a jerk, not giving you that little piece on there. So the only way to start on this is to know if you have two chords that are equal, then you also have two arcs that are equal. It's using that given information. And look at this, your favorite thing to do, solving a quadratic. So if you move the 110 over and you move the x over, you get a great opportunity to factor this thing. And of course, if it ends in a 0, you know 10's a factor. What are your factors of 110? Hopefully you're thinking 10 and 11. And hopefully you get your signs correct on here. So the bigger one's positive, smaller one's negative. And that gives you two values for x. And you're going to have to check to see if they both work. So one is positive 10, one is negative 11. You know, plug them back in and check. This guy over here doesn't do you any good. Because if you square negative 11, you get positive 121. If you square the 10, you get 100. So nothing, both of these are valid for that one. You know, you plug in 10 here, 10 works, of course, because it's 100 degrees. You plug in negative 11, well, 110 minus a negative is really just adding. It's okay there. You plug in the negative 11 here, and it works there as well. This is a situation where all of the answers work. So you're going to have multiple answers for these two. I love it. So x squared could be 100. Well, this one could also be 100, which is what was supposed to happen. These were supposed to be equal. And that's if I plug in 10 for both of them. So there's one of my answers for OY. I can't get AY until I have all the other ones. So you really have to go roundabout and find all of them. Of course, the bottom one's 120 if I plug in. That's wrong. That's 110. Knucklehead teacher again. So if I plug in 10 here, this would be 110. I can tell right now that's wrong. 10 plus 100. Which is going to probably mess up my value for AY. Yeah, these three together, 100 plus 100 plus 110, you get 310, which would leave 50 degrees for the top one. Let's see if I did that right. So, of course, because I'm off by 10 here, this should really be 50. Scribble that out. Do the same thing with negative 11. If you plug in negative 11, you get 121 here. You're going to get 121 over here because these are supposed to be equal. You're going to get negative 99 over here. Good. Oh, did I do that one right? Yeah, negative 89. Sorry. I did one right finally. And then, of course, you can add these all together, subtract from 360 to find the one up top, which I believe, hopefully I have that one right, is 29 degrees. So, kind of a weird one because it's quadratic. You end up with two possible answers for both of these. So OY could be either one of these. And, of course, I said AY was wrong. It could be 29 or 50 degrees. And hopefully I have the 29 correct. So there it is, folks. Homework. Oh, sorry. Don't forget the avalanche problem. You're not going to do that right now. It's a nice application. We're going to skip that one. Homework for tonight. Due on Friday, and we might take a short quiz on Friday. Not a full quiz, but maybe a short quiz on Friday. We'll see where we're at. Homework is on Schoology. Good luck. Enjoy it. Have a great day.